just ask you a couple questions? We're talking about social media and mental health. Do you think you spend too much time on social media?
Absolutely. Doom scrolling at 2 a.m. is just delightful.
How much time do you spend on social media?
I could spend easily an hour on Instagram a day, scrolling aimlessly.
I'll go on Facebook probably once every 3 days, but then I get down these rabbit holes that drive me nuts.
How much time do you spend on social media?
Like 5 hours.
Do you think it affects your mental health at all?
Sometimes, because it makes it harder to focus on things.
I think it's a different world than when we grew up.
Do you think it's better to have phones in school or not have phones in school?
I was actually kind of focusing more and actually paying attention.
Do you think you're on social media too much?
I like talking to people. When you talk to a person and look them in the eyes, you get the truth. I'm old school.
I'm Cindy Hsu, and today we are breaking the stigma about technology and its impact on mental health. We are literally surrounded by screens here, high above Times Square. But evidence is emerging about the detrimental effects of social media, especially for young people, from overuse and harmful and addictive messaging. And there are currently strong pushes for regulation, especially as it pertains to kids. For example, in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams and Schools Chancellor David Banks are pursuing a cell phone ban in schools. Governor Kathy Hochul recently signed the Safe for Kids Act to combat addictive social media feeds. The U.S. Surgeon General has called for warning labels on social media. And finally, the Senate overwhelmingly passed a kids' online safety bill that's been sent to the House for approval. Over this next half hour, we will, of course, hear from experts, but also from those who have had precarious relationships with technology and social media. It's a subject as complex as tech itself. Let's talk about, what do you feel technology, how it affects mental health?
We have seen the damage being on social media does to people of all age groups. It's affecting our ability to see beyond what's on the screen, to see what is meaningful in life.
Every age group, whether it's preteen or teen, who use social media more are reporting more symptoms of anxiety, depression, and worrying.
It can be something that can improve life, obviously, but it can also be something like everything else, where if used too much, and it can make mental health worse.
Young people who don't understand that not everybody is living the life that they see on these social media images coming through like non-stop, right?
It disconnects people from that actual eye contact, nonverbal cues, what it's like being in the presence of someone in a room.
There is no world in which we're going to get rid of social media. It's a part of our reality. It's about incorporating it into our lives in safer ways.
Emmy was the light of my life. She was the kindest child. The world didn't treat her as kindly as she was.
Erin Popolo is talking about her daughter, Emily Murillo.
Once we were in the pandemic, she was isolated, and she, had begged me, oh, can I get a Snapchat? Can I get an Instagram? And, eventually, I gave in, and I would look at them, on her iPad when she'd go to bed and make sure that what she was doing was appropriate.
But it wasn't her daughter's interaction with social media that was cause for concern. Popolo said Emily was being bullied online by kids at school.
They just were kind of ruthless. They went after her. She kind of didn't fight back a lot.
Emily was just 17 years old. Popolo said she had suffered with mental health issues and added the relentless bullying proved to be too much.
I got a text that just said, I love you, from her. I immediately responded back, I love you too. I had a GPS on her. There's a canal about 2 miles from here. And I could see, it looked like the car was in the canal, in the water. And they said she sat there for 1 minute and 11 seconds. And then she gunned it and went in. So they determined that it was a suicide.
Popolo channeled some of her grief and is now involved with KOSA, Kids Online Safety Act. This is the legislation just passed by the Senate that would require social media platforms to change their design and opt out of addictive algorithms.
My hope out of all of this is don't let my kids' death be in vain. Don't let my kid's death be just another tragedy.
This crisis requires urgent and coordinated action now.
A few years ago, we began to see social media contributing to a rise in suicide among adolescents. And it was just overwhelming. And I said, we need to really make some change. So that's when I began thinking about how we could sort of design a movement to do what happened with Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
So just over 6 months ago, Julie Scelfo, a former journalist and mom of 3, created MAMA, Mothers Against Media Addiction.
We need social media products to be safeguarded the same way all other consumer products are made safe for users.
The safeguards have been in the news a lot lately. Do you think things are changing?
As awareness has grown, I think lawmakers have been moved to act. The state of New York became a leader nationally in passing 2 pieces of legislation, one that bans addictive algorithms, another that protects child data privacy.
It's about how social media affects mental health, and what are you finding?
You know, if there was a product that said this product has a 1 in 3 chance of making your child depressed, or a 1 in 5 chance of making your child suicidal, or a 1 in 10 chance of your daughter developing an eating disorder, who would buy that for their child? No one. And I think that's the reason the Surgeon General was calling for warning labels so that parents would start thinking about the risks.
And if lawmakers and educators have their way, there may be significantly fewer screens in schools as momentum for a phone ban in classrooms continues to pick up steam. More on that coming up.
You keep wanting to go and it's just like, oh, 5 more minutes, but then it turns into an hour.
How do you feel social media affects your sleep?
It affects my sleep a lot. If certain days I'm on my phone scrolling, I feel like I can't detach.
Even us adults, we need some limits, right? We can't be on our phones all the time too.
We have declared social media a threat, and we're going to use the tools of our city and our public health tools to address it.
Welcome back to Breaking the Stigma, Technology and Mental Health. As we continue to learn about the potentially dangerous and addictive nature of some social media platforms, we turn to the issue of phones in schools. Experts say smartphones in classrooms can be distracting and even lead to cyberbullying or other mental health issues. Taking phones out of city classrooms is not new. A short-lived ban was in place about a decade ago, which had some students paying to park their phones in nearby bodegas or trucks. But now both the city and state are working on policies that would regulate or once again ban phones in schools, with the plan to likely take effect next year. But some schools are not waiting. It's going to be no phones.
Right.
So how do you feel about that?
I think that our students need and deserve that opportunity.
This is high school social worker Necka Lewis. Her school has adopted no phones in class starting this September. And how do you see it as an opportunity?
Because students now are so glued to their phones that they're not paying attention to anything, that they're not able to take in any of the work that's being taught.
How do you see it affecting students' mental health?
They don't know how to socialize, and socialization is a key factor in growth and development for young people, and lack of sleep. Right? Young people are supposed to be sleeping, but they're on their phones, they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, and they're not getting the sleep that they need.
How do you feel social media affects your sleep?
It affects my sleep a lot. If certain days I'm on my phone scrolling, I feel like I can't detach. But I feel like I've gained control over that over the time. I time myself. I make sure that by a certain time it is off, and I am able to go to sleep right after.
Alex Garcia just graduated from Independence High School, and Sarah Kaylee Marin, who recently migrated from Colombia, is currently a student there.
En Colombia se utilizan más las redes sociales, ya que en todos los colegios de Colombia es permitido el uso del celular.
In Colombia, you're allowed to use your phone in school, and it's really harmed the education, and the education level is now really low. And so they use it all the time, they don't pay attention in class, and so she is excited for this new change because she saw how it affected the schooling in her country.
I feel like the more you talk about it, the more you come to a realization that it is something that needs to be addressed in this new generation. The whole idea of how it affects us, but also other people.
How do you think kids are going to react to the school having no cell phones next year?
I think after a while, people will get used to it and understand that it is an opportunity and not a punitive thing.
This is lunchtime at the New York City Charter School of the Arts, a middle school in Lower Manhattan.
It can sometimes feel like a hectic space, but it's actually like the one time of day, really, it feels like where they can just really just be.
Desiree Jones is Dean of Students and says there's been a no-phone policy since 2018. Students drop them at the start of the day and retrieve them as they leave.
If they're caught with their phones, we confiscate it and hold it until their parents can come pick it up. So that is somewhat of a deterrent. They actually kind of discover the wonders of like meeting with other people, right? It empowers them to kind of grow as young people, which is very developmentally appropriate for middle schoolers.
I was kind of like heartbroken because I thought on like our breaks we could be able to use our phones like during lunch or like advisory.
It's just like you keep wanting to go and it's just like, oh, 5 more minutes, but then it turns into an hour and then like you're just at midnight finishing your homework.
I think I know just by my environment that like all that stuff is not really good for me, and I do not really want to dig deep into the internet to find it or like try to engage in it.
I don't take it anyway, honestly, because I guess like to like keep us focused in school, it's like a rule, I guess, for us to stay focused and like not get distracted during classes.
Even us adults, we need some limits, right? We can't be on our phones all the time too. And so kind of being able to understand that there's a time and place for this socialization and communication.
Do you have any advice for parents when it comes to cell phones and their children?
Parents still need to know that they're in control and they can set those boundaries, and that communication can come back again, and you can have dinners with your children and talk about things again, which is definitely needed.
There's a overwhelming consensus that parents and children and teens all want the government to do something to try to bring this all under control. And there's no debate that phones should be out of our schools.
Details regarding how to collect, store, or safeguard phones still need to be worked out, as well as the possible need for funding for pouches to secure them, which can cost as much as $30 each. But some schools continue forward with their own bans for now. Coming up.
I discourage my children from using technology, and I encourage my older relatives to use it more.
Today, 72% of parents play video games, and 83% of those parents play with their kids.
We try to be as positive as we can for each other and for others watching, because we know that there are so many people out there who need that.
You're on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
Are you on Instagram?
Yes, I am.
Do you watch videos on YouTube?
Yes.
Welcome back to Breaking the Stigma, Technology and Mental Health. As we've come to understand the potential dangers of too much social media, there's clearly an upside when it's used properly. For seniors, it's become a vital tool to stay connected and stave off loneliness.
My relationship with technology is that it makes you more self-sufficient. You're not dependent anymore on the kids and the grandkids.
This is Jean Dublin, who says she is 71 years young.
It's mind-boggling, the amount of stuff that I have learned. Beforehand, when I heard about the computer, I was a little shy. But then after I start doing classes, there is no turning back.
How is everyone feeling today?
The classes Dublin is talking about are offered here at Senior Planet. It's an organization that's been providing technology programs for people over 60 for free for 2 decades.
I'm exploring, I'm enjoying, and I'm having fun at the same time.
The participation has skyrocketed. For the vast majority of older adults, participating in a healthy way with technology is essential to their mental health. The principal obstacle for mental health for so many older folks is the decline in their contacts with friends and family and community, and the need to re-establish and reweave those connections. And technology happens to be a critical tool for that in the modern age. I discourage my children from using technology, and I encourage my older relatives to use it more. The #1 app that people are using is communication and social contact. Beyond that, we have huge amounts of traffic on fitness. They're doing morning stretch classes. And then after the class is over, they spend another 15 minutes or 30 minutes just socializing with each other in the open Zoom space.
One study credits online socialization and interaction with elevating moods and adds some seniors even have lower blood pressure and fewer issues with depression. And there's more.
There's a huge market for gaming for older adults now.
When you look at people who are 50 years old and older, 29% of them play games compared to 9% in 1999. And what we have found is that games have a very positive impact. 79% of people say that video games bring them joy. 78% say that it brings them mental stimulation, and 77% says stress relief. It's really different than swiping. It's really different than trying to get likes, because there's an engagement to it. It's not uncommon to be in a waiting room to see a woman playing Candy Crush or an older gentleman playing Wordle. All of these things really draw us to playing games and having a positive outcome.
Stanley Pierre-Louis says for younger players, there are parental controls that can be put into place to monitor games, time played, and money spent. He adds that family gaming has also increased in popularity.
Today, 72% of parents play video games, and 83% of those parents play with their kids.
There are also marginalized groups that have found a safe space in online gaming. NYC Gamers have given members of the LGBTQ+ community a secure place for esports fun, competition, and mutual support. And a professional quadriplegic esports team known as the Quad Gods are thriving with a newfound sense of purpose and community.
What distinguishes video games from social media is the fact that the Federal Trade Commission has recognized our commitment to safety.
Though the Gaming Association has shed most of its negative profile with the creativity and even educational value of the newer generation of games, there's still plenty of opportunities for anyone to find themselves down a rabbit hole of clicking through levels. And there's still bad actors who may infiltrate platforms, as well as possible physical and mental health implications.
It's setting people up for overuse injuries, with their elbows, with their hands, with their thumbs. Whenever you're not moving enough, you're setting your body up for a lot of stress in the tissues, in the bones. The breath is much more compressed as well. That's really important for feeling energized, feeling clearer in your head. You first got to align your head, so you really need to go like this. With any kind of computer screen, it needs to be at eye level. You need to get up and move because your joints are going to feel better, and then your mind is going to feel better.
I know one thing, I love you.
It was getting back to streaming and making music online that helped Austin Volo and girlfriend Kayla Finelli overcome issues with their mental health. They use their presence on social media for emotional support and reassurance for themselves and for others. But the road to that realization was not an easy one.
Our self-worth was really attached to how many views we got. Were we gaining enough subscribers? I would have panic attacks like nearly every day. And I really attached all of my self-worth to social media.
Both Volo and Finelli said they suffered with mental health issues that were exacerbated by social media and the reception their performances received online. But with therapy and professional guidance, they said they shed the need for positive reviews and said they started working from the heart.
And so when I get comments or messages from other people saying how much we've helped them through our music or through talking, it's what I dreamed about my whole life, basically.
I hope we made your night better. You actually did. We have people who reach out to us and say that because of us opening up about whether it be our struggles with social media or my diagnosis with bipolar disorder that inspired them to get a proper diagnosis, and that it's changed their lives for the better.
Couldn't ask for a better audience and a better community.
We try to be as positive as we can for each other and for others watching, because we know that there are so many people out there who need that.
We all need to understand there is clearly an upside and downside to technology and social media. It can be an incredible conduit to our big world or trap us into a tiny screen. Some final thoughts from our experts.
Parents and caregivers should delay social media use until at least age 14, and that every family, every place should have tech-free zones or tech-free times.
If you're using a particular application and you realize that it may not be the healthiest relationship, it can be helpful to take stock, going out for a walk, taking breaks, engaging with people in real life.
I believe is that every 6 months that you can delay children going on social media will benefit like multiple years down the line of delaying the problems that could happen.
It's a fast-changing world online. Government and other officials are finally paying attention to the cry for some legislation. And there are now some guidelines and regulations on what and how we view what we view. We have a list of resources on our website at cbsnewyork.com. And if you or anyone you know is in distress, call or text 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You'll find free guidance and counseling 24/7. I'm Cindy Hsu. Thank you for watching Breaking the Stigma, Technology and Mental Health.